Hello everyone and welcome to the class. I'm really excited today to talk to you about something really very important today, and that is communication skills. We will explore what communication is, why it matters, and how it can be useful in our everyday lives, especially when using English. And in this class, you will learn how communication impacts your everyday life in personal and professional settings. And also, by the end of the class, you will be able to understand how to use English effectively in practical situations. Are you ready? So let's get started. So the question is, what is communication? Well, communication is like the bridge that connects us with others. It involves sharing information, thoughts, and feelings. Effective communication is like a smooth conversation where everyone understands each other. That's a simple definition. Now, why does this matter? Well, think about it. In our everyday lives, we're constantly communicating with friends, at school, at work, everywhere. Now, clear and effective communication makes everything smoother. It helps in avoiding misunderstandings and building some strong connections with others in our everyday lives. So here's the deal. The better we understand communication, the better we can use it to our advantage in practical situations. We want to be able to express ourselves clearly and understand others in return. Now, I want you to think about a time when communication made a difference in your life. Maybe it was a conversation with a friend, a presentation at school or college, or even a job interview, although most of you are probably not a job holder. Communication is all around us, everywhere. Mastering it, so mastering it can truly open doors to different opportunities, which you must avail. So keep in mind as you go forward, we're not just talking about some abstract concept here. We are also exploring a skill that can make a real impact on your everyday experiences. So let's move on to see how we can break down communication into different components. Now let's talk about the different parts that make up communication. Think about it like building blocks that come together to create a meaningful exchange. So the first block is verbal communication. This is all about the words we use, how we say them, and the language we choose. It's what you are hearing right now as I speak to you. Paying attention to pronunciation and language is very, very important here. And the second block is nonverbal communication. So this involves things like body language, facial expressions, and gestures. Imagine someone saying that they are happy, but their face looks sad. How would you take that? Nonverbal communications, nonverbal cues can sometimes tell us more than words, as opposed to verbal communication. And lastly, we have paralanguage. Probably this term is new to you. Well, this is a bit tricky, but it's very essential. It's not just about what we say, but how we say it. Think about the tone of your voice, the speed at which you talk, and even the volume, louder or lower in volume. They all contribute to the message you are conveying while you communicate to people. So when you communicate, it's not just about the words, it's about the whole package. What you say, how you look, and the way you say it. And by the word how you look, I don't mean your dress. Rather your facial expression. Okay. This understanding is really very important as we move forward because it forms the basis for effective communication. All right. So imagine this like a recipe. The right combination of ingredients like verbal, nonverbal, and paralanguage. This makes for a tasty and successful communication dish. Now that we know the components, let's explore the different types of communication on our next slide. So, different types of communication. First up, we have intrapersonal communication. Intrapersonal communication. This is when you communicate with yourself. We all do it. Whether it's talking through a problem in your head or psyching yourself up for a challenge or something. This is what we call intrapersonal communication. And the next one is interpersonal communication. The previous one was interpersonal communication, and this one is interpersonal communication. Mark the pronunciation, okay? So this one happens when between two or more people. Think of your everyday conversations with your friends, family, or colleagues. That's interpersonal communication right there, between two people or maybe more. And then the next one is we have group communication, which involves a small group of people interacting, like a discussion. Okay, it's like when you are part of a team, working on a project or maybe discussing ideas with your classmates or even with your family members on your dinner table. And lastly, there's public communication. This is when you speak to a larger audience. It could be giving a presentation, making a speech, or even speaking in front of a class. Public communication often, requires a bit more preparation and awareness of your audience. You need to understand your audience before you speak to that large number of people. So understanding these types of communication helps you navigate different situations. Whether you are chatting with a friend or giving a presentation, knowing the type of communication involved can guide you on how you can express yourself. So in a nutshell, communication is not one size fits all. It comes in different shapes and sizes, and being aware of these types will empower you to communicate effectively in various scenarios. So, ready for the next slide? Okay, now that we know the types, let's explore why we communicate, why people communicate, and what each communication act aims to achieve. Firstly, there's the informal function. This is all about sharing facts, data, and knowledge. Think of it as when a teacher explains a concept in class, like I'm doing right now, or even when you share the latest news with a friend, or maybe you share with your friend about something funny that you've watched right now, or something like that. Okay. And the next one is expressive function. This is about conveying emotions, feelings, and attitudes. It's how we express joy, sadness, excitement, sometimes frustration, anger. Imagine telling someone about your day or describing how much you love a particular hobby, or maybe how you felt when some of your friends, misbehaved with you, or you did something bad and now you're feeling so guilty about it, something like that. So expressive function. Now the next one is directive function. Directive function. This involves giving instructions or commands. It's the communication that guides actions. For example, a boss giving tasks to employees, or a teacher providing directions for an assignment, which you will be seeing a lot in your university graduation life. And lastly, there's the social function. This is all about building relationships and connections. It's the small talk with a neighbor, the friendly banter with classmates, or the deeper conversation that strengthens bonds. It often happens within partners and family members, and sometimes between colleagues also. So understanding these functions helps you see that communication is not just about talking for the sake of talking. It serves specific purposes. It has specific purpose. Whether you are sharing information, expressing yourself, giving directions, or connecting with others socially and emotionally, communication plays a really very important role here. So as we move forward, keep these functions in mind because these will be our guideposts as we explore the practical aspects of communication in English in the coming slides. So, next slide. All right. In this slide, we're going to discuss why communication skills are crucial in practical life. First, think about your career. Effective communication is like a superpower in the professional world. It helps in your job interviews, workplace interactions, interactions, and presentations, etc., while giving reports to your boss, etc. Imagine going to a job interview and not being able to express yourself, your skills, and your ideas clearly. That's where communication skills come in handy. That's where it proves its essential, demand. Now, shift the focus to your personal life. Building and maintaining relationships with friends, family, and colleagues take good communication, right? Because communication is really very important while building relationship. Imagine a miscommunication leading to a misunderstanding with a friend or a family member. It happens all the time. I can see within my experience. Most of the relationships that break down are because of miscommunication. So once you have good communication, your relationships will be stronger. Lastly, consider problem solving. Life is full of challenges, right? And effective communication is the key to solving those conflicts. Whether it's negotiating with a friend or a client or finding solutions in a group project, your ability to communicate plays a really very important role. So in practical terms, communication skills are not just about sounding good or using big words that no one knows the meaning of. They're about making your life smoother, both personally and professionally. As language learners, improving your communication skills in English is like unlocking a secret to a successful life, unlocking a door to multiple opportunities in your academic and when you go beyond in your professional life. So keep this in your mind, that communication is not just a skill. It's a tool that can shape your experiences and interactions in the real world. The next slide. There are some challenges that non-native English speakers face when it comes to communication. As non-native speakers, because you are non-native speakers, it means that you are not native speakers of English, right? So as non-native speakers, you might encounter a few hassles and hurdles and obstacles. The first is language barriers. It's natural. Sometimes finding the right words can be a bit tricky, becomes difficult. It might take a little longer to express yourself, but you shouldn't stop, okay? And sometimes it's better to use an easy word and the handy word, which means something that comes up in your mind on the right moment, rather than just looking for some perfect word, okay? Because once you do that, your fluency will be disrupted. Then there are cultural differences. English is not just about the words, it's about understanding cultural nuances as well. Every culture has its own way of using language. So certain expressions or gestures might have different meanings in your culture. And understanding these differences will help you navigate between cultures. For example, if someone comes to your country from, let's say, China, and you don't know Chinese, and that Chinese person doesn't know Bangla, so how do you deal with that? You'll have to use English, although Chinese people's English, is not so good. So, but they can communicate. So you should be, and that it's also true for that person. Both of you must understand the cultural differences, how to use language, in which situations you are talking, and what subject you are talking about. It might be sensitive. It might be, inappropriate at times. So understanding cultural differences is absolutely crucial. Lastly, the challenge. There's the challenge of a lack of confidence, which I see a lot in our students. It's common to feel a bit unsure about speaking a new language, especially if you're afraid of making mistakes. But remember, making mistakes is just the part of learning process. You should not worry about what other people are thinking if you make mistakes. Make mistakes, because this is the first step. This is the first step to, improving yourself in terms of communication skills, in terms of speaking skills. So allow yourself to make mistakes and forget about that ego that somebody might be, laughing at me if I make mistakes. But it's not true, actually. All right. So, yeah, you should be confident about it. Confidently make mistakes, no problem. But keep practicing. All right. Also, the good news is these challenges are entirely normal, and everyone at some point faces them. The key is to acknowledge them, to realize that, to accept that, yes, I have those challenges, and then you should start working on overcoming them, and only then you will be able to get to that point where you will free yourself from all these barriers. All right. So, let's move on. Now let's talk about how you can overcome those communication challenges, if you have any. I know you have some, and become a more confident English speaker. First one, improving language skills. I think you can engage in regular language practice. This could involve daily conversations, language exchange programs. There are many online you can find and join. Then you can join some language learning communities on Facebook, on Instagram. I don't know if there is any on Instagram, but there are many on Facebook Messenger. And you should engage yourself in everyday communication, everyday conversations with your friends, with your teacher, with someone who you can. And you can also use online platforms for language learning and resources. There are many that focus on language learning and English language improvement. Don't feel shy. Don't shy away from making mistakes, because that's the natural part of the learning process. And then the next one was cultural awareness, cultural differences, and sensitivity. So explore and learn about English-speaking countries. You can watch some language learning videos. Okay, Cambridge and Oxford have some, long role-playing sort of conversation videos between learners. And in those videos, those are like stories, okay? You'll be able to see, you will be able to lay out the cultural differences that are presented throughout the storyline. That's going to be helpful. Okay, so, and then be open to diverse perspectives. Cultural differences can enrich your conversations, so you should accept it. Accept it like anything. Accept it like an opportunity. And then ask questions if you're unsure about cultural norms or customs. For example, I was talking about this Chinese person coming to your country to talk to you and engage in a conversation. If you don't understand whether you should be using this phrase or whether you should be talking about this particular topic, whether it's going to be appropriate, whether it's going to be sensitive or not, you should ask questions. People appreciate your curiosity and willingness to understand. So don't shy away yourself from asking questions. Yeah. That the next one was building confidence. Practice, practice, practice. Nothing more is more useful than this. The more you use English, the more confident you will become. That's the key. So set achievable goals, start with the small, manageable tasks, and gradually challenge yourself with more complex language tasks. Surround yourself with supportive environments. Maybe you can join some language clubs, participate in a group activities, and you can also find some fellow learners, okay, and connect with them. A supportive community can boost your confidence, because then you'll have this feeling that people are accepting you the way you are. You're making mistakes all the time, but people are not talking about it. People aren't saying, you made mistakes. Nobody's talking about it. Nobody's pointing out your mistakes. And then you will gradually feel like, oh, then it's okay to make mistakes. All right, so find some community. That's really very helpful for boosting confidence. Also, classroom is a very useful place. You can work on yourself in terms of building confidence within the classroom, because that's an opportunity for you, right? You have the opportunity to talk, to ask questions, to make mistakes. Nobody's going to, point fingers toward you. All right? Remember, everyone goes through these challenges when they learn a new language. I went through the same process, and I'm still going, of course, still learning. So it's all the part of the journey. By actively working on your language skills, understanding differences in cultures, differences in situations, and building confidence, you will find yourself, freely moving within the world of English communication with more ease, with more comfort. Okay. So, yeah. Now, let's explore some practical strategies to enhance your English communication skills. First one is active listening skills. Pay close attention to what others are saying. This not only helps you understand the context, but also shows respect to the speaker. Because think about this. You are talking to someone, interpersonal communication. You are talking to another person, one-to-one communication. And that person is not even looking at you, is not even listening. Maybe they're showing that, yeah, I'm listening. Yeah, you can speak. I'm listening. But this is not the right attitude. it's disrespectful, isn't it? So trying to pay close attention to someone when they're talking is part of giving respect to people, and also part of part of improving your active listening skills. That also contributes to the overall improvement of your communication skills. Okay. And another important tip that I would like to give you is practice reflective listening. Like paraphrase or repeat what you've heard to confirm your understanding. This is something that I have a mentor, a virtual mentor, you can say. I listen to his podcasts, listen to his lectures, and read his books and everything. And I follow most of his guidelines about life and everything. So his name is Dr. Jordan B. Peterson. Some of you may know him. So he suggests this in terms of improving your interpersonal communication skills and your overall communication skills. He says you will become a better speaker, you will become a better communicator, and your relationships with those people will become stronger if you practice this. Practice what? Reflective listening. Like you are talking to someone and that person is, you're listening to someone and that person is explaining something. And maybe it's a sort of complex idea. Sometimes people exchange complex ideas, right? So imagine that person is explaining something complex to you, and just for confirmation of understanding, you are saying that, okay, I got it. Hold on a second. Probably you are saying that this. So you are trying to paraphrase, you're trying to summarize what that person is trying to express, what that person is trying to, explain. So this is a killer strategy of two things. Number one is improving your listening and speaking skills, and also your public speaking skills. Okay, because that person is going to feel good even if you disagree with that person. It doesn't matter. Even if you say that, what you're saying is wrong, but that's not obviously the right approach. So first, if you summarize what that person is trying to say, then that person will feel like heard. They will feel like appreciated. They will feel like, that this person was actually listening to me. Okay, this shows your respectful manner, your respectful attitude towards that person. So that person is going to instantly like you. And that's why I said it's a good idea to improve your interpersonal and public speaking skills. Okay, so I'm taking a long time probably in one particular slide. Let's go forward. Next one is clear and concise expression. And this, you should focus on expressing your thoughts in a straightforward manner. Avoid unnecessary complexity in your sentences. Try to be simple. Try to be using simple sentences, because this is what goes into the mind of the people, heart of the people easily. It doesn't give hard times to people who you are talking to as they interpret you. So don't give difficulty. Don't give hard times to your listeners as you explain something. And that's why using clear and concise expressions are absolutely crucial, helpful. And then use clear examples to illustrate your points, making it easier for others to follow your ideas. Okay, vague examples, try to avoid them. Try to use clear examples. If you're not sure about some examples, whether they correlate between these ideas, the examples, and your ideas that you're trying to express, then please avoid them. You don't have to use the examples, but when you have one and you're confident about the, effectiveness of it, then go forward, use it, go ahead. And then appropriate vocabulary and tone. Well, build a diverse vocabulary by regularly reading, watching, and listening to English content. Why not browsing YouTube for watching some English content? Whatever it is, just search on YouTube, search on Google in English and start reading and watching it. Whatever you feel like, whatever that interests you, that's going to build your vocabulary. And also, it's subconsciously going to help you improve your fluency, improve your overall speaking style and everything, choice of words. And you'll also learn different vocabulary. So, yeah, be mindful of the tone you use. Adjust it based on the situation. Formal situations, formal tone for professional settings, casual tone for social conversations, and semi-formal for known formal situations, repeatedly known formal professional settings. So these are really very important. You should understand when to talk, in which tone. That's going to give you a better grasp of the moment, and people will take you seriously. Yeah. So, and then asking questions for clarification. Yeah, don't hesitate to ask for clarification if you don't understand something. You don't ask questions. I have seen, most of our students do not ask questions. They feel like, oh, what if I make mistake in asking the question? Why should I ask a question? I'm not interested. So that's a huge problem. We will talk about it later on, but the thing is, you have to ask questions for clarification if you don't understand anything, because otherwise it's going to be a gap, and this gap will contribute to creating more gaps, larger gaps. So it's better to seek clarity than to make assumptions without assuming. Use questions as a tool to engage in conversations and show your interest in what others are saying. These strategies are practical tools you can use in your everyday communication. They not only help you express yourself in more effective ways, but also contribute to building stronger connections with others. So let's move on to the next one. The next one is the importance of body language in communication. The first one is understanding the cultural differences in body language. Because culture-wise, it varies. Different cultures may interpret body language differently. So be aware of nuances to avoid misunderstandings. Take note of common gestures and expressions in English-speaking cultures to enhance your nonverbal communication. Nonverbal cues that enhance communication. Maintain eye contact to convey attentiveness and interest in the conversation. Use facial expressions to express emotions and convey the tone of your message. Pay attention to the posture. Standing or sitting up straight can project confidence and openness. I was talking about Dr. Jordan B. Peterson. He has written a book, and in his second book, 12 Rules for Life, he dedicated a full chapter on this, just standing up straight. Okay. Because that gives you confidence. You take some space, man. When you take some space and you find yourself confident, and you will have the courage to speak up, and that's really very important. Okay. So the next one is the impact of posture, gestures, and facial expressions. Open and relaxed body language can create a positive atmosphere in a conversation because that's so welcoming. People will take you seriously and people will treat you better if you have, good posture, good gestures, and good facial expressions. Good facial expressions don't mean to, make up your false facial expressions. It's rather communicating using, people communicate using words as well, right? That's the very fundamental way of communicating with people. But going beyond, if you use your tone and body gestures and postures and facial expressions, that is going to give the entire scenario a huge boost up. So yeah, go for that. And also, you can use gestures to emphasize key points, but to be mindful not to overdo it, Using hands, for example, to, people do it a lot. People use hands to emphasize on specificity and on significance of words and ideas, right? So you can do that, but overdoing it is sometimes bad. But you should not focus on whether you are overdoing it. Rather, you should be able to use it first. Okay, because that's also something that helps you in achieving a sort of fluency in your speaking, in your speech. So yeah, go for that. And remember one thing: nonverbal communication can sometimes speak louder than words. So you should take it seriously, and your body language, and understanding its outcome, its impact will improve your overall communication skills. Okay, so ready for the next slide. Now let's talk about developing a positive mindset for effective communication. Really very important. Overcoming fear and anxiety. Acknowledge that it's okay to feel nervous, especially when speaking in a new language and mostly in front of an audience. If you have more than one person, listening to you, like a presentation, a speech, a lecture, whatever it is, when you are on stage talking to a large number of people, you must feel nervous. Everybody does that. But you should acknowledge that, you should accept the fact that everyone feels nervous. But it's not about feeling nervous, rather, it's about how you deal with your nervousness. Okay? Alright, so focus on the message you want to convey rather than worrying about potential mistakes that you might make. You might make thousands of mistakes. Now, if you start worrying about them, then you will forget what you wanted to say. That's insane. So please do not bother about what mistakes I might make. Rather, focus on your message, because it's like your message is like the thread in a flower garland. Okay, so you see flowers in the overall garland, but within the flowers goes a very thin, very thin thread. That's something that holds up all the flowers together. But you don't see it, do you? But it's really very important, right? Significant, remarkably significant. Without the thread that goes through all these flowers, all the flowers wouldn't be able to stick together, right? So that's how you can look at the importance of focusing on message. So if you focus on the message, one or two flowers don't look good, it's okay. You will still have the ultimate thing, right? Ultimate product. But if you don't focus on the message and it breaks down, then what will happen? No one will understand what it looks like. No one will understand, no one will be able to interpret you, right? So focus on the message. Then, you should embrace mistakes as learning opportunities. Understand that making mistakes is a natural part of learning any language, and accept mistakes as opportunities for improvement. If you make mistake, you will know that you have you have problems in these particular areas, and then you will be able to take steps forward to improve yourself, to becoming a better communicator, right? So that's an opportunity. Setting realistic communication goals. Yeah, very important. Break down your language learning goals into achievable steps. Don't ever focus or never say that I would like to become like him. I would like to become like Ohit sir. I would like to become like Ayman Sadiq and whatever, Jordan Peterson, or the Yahya Amin, or whoever it is. So you should not. You can make that target. You can set a goal like that, but you have to break them into small achievable steps. Okay? Because then you will have the opportunity to celebrate small victories along the way all the time, and this will give you more confidence. This will give you a better feeling about yourself. This will give you self-confidence, right? So, and also, don't compare yourself to others. Everyone progresses at their own pace. Everyone has their own pace. You should not give other people the opportunity to, make your self-esteem low. Once you compare yourself with others, it means that you are setting a boundary of yourself, and at the boundary that person is sitting. So you are not seeing yourself going beyond that person. You might be, who knows? You might be better than Yahya Amin as a speaker. You might be better than, Ayman Sadiq, or whoever your hero in the arena of public speaking. So do not always compare yourself with others. He's a good speaker, but I'm not. It's not like that. You improve yourself and you will become a better speaker every day. Compare yourself not to others, rather compare yourself to the person you used to be yesterday. Okay. All right. So the next one is, developing a positive mindset is very important for effective communication. And by overcoming fear, embracing mistakes, and setting realistic goals, you'll find yourself more open to learning and improving your communication skills. So in the upcoming slides, we will explore practical activities to improve your communication skills. along with some additional resources for continuous improvement. Let's move on. Now, some practical activities to improve your communication skills. Number 1, role-playing scenarios. Engage in role-playing activities where you can practice real-life communication scenarios. In the class, that's possible. This could be everyday conversations, job interviews, or social interactions. Teachers in your classroom, language classrooms especially, teachers have this opportunity to make you engage yourself in different role-playing scenarios, and you will find some like-minded people, like-leveled people. And by that, what I mean is, you have the similar language levels to those of others. And also, that's a very good opportunity. So whenever you have that opportunity, grab it and give the best of yourself. And beyond classroom, you should also try to find these opportunities, role-playing scenario playing opportunities by yourself. So talk to a friend, like I already talked about it in the previous slide a little bit. So try to find a group, a community where you can actually have this opportunity to role play, and participate in language learning activities. And then you will have also the opportunity to receive feedback from your peers, from your mentors, and these will help you to identify the areas for improvement. Okay, but you'll have to have that positive mindset, like I explained in the last slide. Yeah. So group discussion, next one. You should participate in group discussions where you can express your thoughts and opinions on various topics. And then you will have this opportunity to see how your expression, how your ideas are being validated, how your ideas work. Are people accepting your ideas completely? Are people accepting your ideas partly? Or are they rejecting your opinions, your ideas, your thoughts completely? What is happening? You will have this, this mirror in front of you, mirror of your thoughts, mirror of your skills in group discussions. Okay, so, and also no one will, bother you. If you participate, you will improve. If you don't participate, you will not improve. Probably you will see that you are not doing good. You have these areas to improve. Oh, what they're saying, I don't understand. This person has very good skill. So that person has very good pronunciation. That person has very good vocabulary, and I have none of them. So I better not talk. That's a bad idea. So take that as an opportunity to motivate yourself to improve, to find the areas you need improvement, and give yourself the opportunity to work on your, identified areas. Okay. So another thing is practice active listening and respond thoughtfully to others' contributions. Someone is saying something. Okay. And you should actively listen first. That's what is the crucial in terms of speaking. So first, listen actively, and then after listening actively, you will have some realization about it, some opinions about it, and then contribute and then respond to that person's thoughts and opinions with respect. This is how in reciprocity, languages in terms of interpersonal communication, it's so reciprocal. If you become reciprocal, that means you are giving opportunity to someone to say something, and then you are responding to that, and then the other person is again responding to your response in return, and this is how it goes on. And the longer your conversation is, the more opportunities you have for improving your speaking. So, but if you don't actively listen, then you will not be able to take that conversation up to even 1 minute or 2 minutes, because you didn't understand the point. You didn't listen, right? So active listening is really very important for many purposes. Okay. And public speaking exercises. Yeah, challenge yourself with public speaking exercises, even if it's just, in front of a small audience, in front of a class. If your teacher asks for a volunteer to come up and say something about yourself, or maybe about something else, just raise your hand. Man, just raise your hand and be that person. Be that person to go first, and then you will feel privileged. You will feel not positive, not negatively, of course, positively, and you will also have a huge boost up in your confidence. That in the first class I talked in front of a lot of people, and everyone clapped. Maybe not clapped, but everyone, they were understanding me. That's great, man. It's part of the self-motivation, right? To do that. And this could be also a class presentation or speaking at a language club if you have one. In our context at our university, we are going to have a specifically language club, but probably it's going to take a little time, but you can take initiatives. Why not? From your department. Okay. Focus on articulation, how you pronounce the words, tone, maintaining a connection with your audience through eye contact, body language, and of course, intellectually. So these are public speaking exercises. That's going to be helpful for improving your overall communication skills. English language games. These are also helpful. Explore language games that make learning enjoyable. Scrabble, word association games, or other language apps can make vocabulary building fun. And there are lots of platforms and applications, mobile applications also available out there online. Just search on Google, okay, and you will find them. I can also give you a link in the description below, so that it helps in your search. Okay. Incorporate English into your leisure activities, like watching movies or playing online games with English speakers, if possible. Okay. And if not, then with non-native speakers, of course. Okay. These activities not only make learning more engaging, but also provide practical opportunities to apply and improve your communication skills. But remember, these are not everything. You have more to do beyond this list, because this is part of the class, and I cannot give you an endless list. So I chose a few, but you can find more tips for improving your overall communication skills and exercises, of course. Now let's explore additional resources for continuous improvement in communication skills. You can find online language learning platforms, and as I said, I will give you a link to the description below for this, like Duolingo, Babbel, Rosetta Stone. These are, you can say, the best 3 for interactive language learning platforms. You can also join online language communities to connect with fellow learners and native speakers. We already talked about that. Language exchange programs, participate in language exchange programs. Maybe you will teach Bangla to someone, and then other person will teach you English, and this is how you can play around in language learning programs. And it's always a good idea to find a native speaker on the language exchange programs. Okay, so platforms like Tandem, I don't know if you have heard of it, Tandem, HelloTalk, these are 2 best language exchange programs I've ever heard. So you can Google and find them, and use their free tier. So books, podcasts, and videos on effective communication. You can explore resources that focus on communication skills in English. Books like, very, simple English written books. Okay, for example, I don't know, How to Win Friends and Influence People, Dale Carnegie. Very, popular book, and it's been popular for quite a long time. Although, it's for beginners, but a popular one. Simple English, you can understand everything you read. So choose books that will not give you hard times to read. Okay, and you will also learn things besides improving your vocabulary and reading skills. Then you can watch TED Talks or YouTube videos on effective communication to learn from experts. There are thousands of videos on these topics. So go on TED Talks or YouTube and search on specific area that you think you should improve on. And you will find so many lectures from so many experts from different, good institutions like universities and other organizations. So go for that. And there's something you should do regularly, and that is reading and listening. Every day you should read something, and every day you should listen something. Okay. Spend 1 hour at least, 1 hour of reading plus listening. Maybe 20 minutes reading and 40 minutes listening, or you're adjust with your own ratio depending on your mood, depending on your intelligence. Some people like to read books more than watching videos. Some people like the vice versa. So read books, articles, news in English to improve vocabulary and comprehension, reading skills. And then listen to podcasts, audiobooks, watch English movies, TV shows, news, TV series to enhance your listening skills. These are mind-blowing for improving English. These resources are not so strict. These are flexible, so you can use them to continue your improvement beyond classroom. Remember, consistent practice and exposure to language immersion, finding yourself in that environment when you are listening English all around you. These are the key to mastering a language. Okay, so best of luck for that. Okay, now let's conclude. Recap. So what we have covered is, so far, if I try to recap, we've covered the definition, communication, and types of communication, understanding its components and the functions it serves in practical life. We have explored the importance of communication skills in career development, personal relationships, and problem solving. We have given emphasis on practical application. We said communication is not just a theoretical concept. It's a practical skill that can shape your everyday experiences. We have highlighted the relevance of effective communication in job interviews, relationships, and various life situations. And then, of course, we've encouraged overcoming challenges, including language barriers and cultural differences. We have provided some strategies and activities to improve and boost up your communication skills, and also suggested some resources for continuous learning and improvement. So, that's it. And if you have any questions or thoughts you might have, of course, about communication skills, language learning, or practical applications of English, please feel free to ask specific questions in the comments, or if you are students of my class, then please post on the discussion forums and share this lecture with others if you like it. Thank you very much. I'll see you in the next. Take care. Bye-bye.